arguably one of the greatest video game franchises in its history of Konami's penultimate series. Castlevania has withstood the test of time, being one of the darkest game series to feature the mythos of hunters, witches, and universal classic monsters. What has changed in time with Konami's neglected franchise? Let us dive down into the Castlevania rabbit hole. Meet Kagamasa Kazuki, the man who would be a founder of what would be Konami. In 1969, Konami was founded, but not as a video game company. Its focus was on being a jukebox rental and repair business. The name Konami would derive from the names Kagamasa Kazuki, Yoshinobu Nakanama, and Tatsuo Misako. They also ran health and fitness clubs across Japan. That's not the focus of this video. In 1978, Konami would release their first coined-op arcade machine, with releasing it to the US the following year. In 1981, they achieved success with arcade games such as Frogger and Super Cobra. In 1982, Konami of America was born and began to expand their video game releases into homes in the US, which they had a short stint release on the dying 2600 Atari. In 1985, they would see the light of success in releasing games on the Nintendo Entertainment System, but they would create a game that would change everything about horror forever. Demon Castle Dracula, aka Akujamao Dora Kirura, was created in 1986 for the Famicom Disk System. However, the series did not receive worldwide attention until the FDS system version was ported to the cartridge format for the Nintendo Entertainment System and localized for both North American and European release under the title name Castlevania in 1987. The series has since became a landmark in the gaming industry overnight, as it was among the earliest video games to feature a gothic horror storyline, while at the same time abandoning the campy elements of similar games of the time, such as Ghosts and Goblins. The game would introduce Simon Belmont, the vampire hunter who was sent by the church to defeat Dracula on Easter Sunday of 1691. In 1988, Konami releases the sequel to Castlevania, simply put as Castlevania II: Simon's Quest, for the NES in the US. A year prior, Japan released it for the Famicom Disk System line. Also in 1988, the premier Nintendo Power, the premier magazine for Nintendo players, released the cover for its September-October 1988 release. However, the cover gave its young readers nightmares due to its dark themes and a beheaded Dracula. It did not stop the fandom for Castlevania II: Simon's Quest. Simon's Quest follows Simon again, but 7 years later, to travel across Castlevania, to go to various mansions, finding Dracula's body parts, 5 of them exactly, and kill him. It was also the first game to feature 3 different endings, as most future games would contain them. Also, a select few, such as Aria of Sorrow and few of the Nintendo DS games would carry the 3 different endings, and Symphony of the Night as well. In 1989, Castlevania would see its first release on the Nintendo Game Boy with its newest entry into the franchise, the Castlevania Adventure. It was released both in the US and Japan the same year. It was set in 1576, almost 100 years before Simon Belmont. The game introduces the newest protagonist, Christopher Belmont. While Chris may be the first Belmont to defeat Dracula, the game's timeline would go back 100 years more, before Simon and before Christopher, as the 80s was drawing into a close. What will Castlevania have for us